Alright, so we're in our dairy now, and our water is starting to thaw out. Starting to come back in the odd place, and the first place it came back to see me is our wash pump here in front of our milk tank. And the first thing I noticed was when I opened the door was a gush of water running down. This is a stainless steel cover here that goes in front of it. And this here had separated, and that was completely blown apart, which thankfully I thought was quite an easy fix, and put it back together again. And as soon as I had it back together again, it blew out on the actual mains line that's down here. Do you see that lad there? It's back on now. By the way, all the power is disconnected to our milk tank when we're working on it. Looks like it's not leaking, doing its job correctly. And it's a problem fixed. I'm in the parlour here, and we do have a little bit of a thaw going on. And water is slowly but surely starting to come back on again. But these lads here have busted. These are the guys that hang down on the parlour just to allow us to wash down the machine. We can't wash down the clusters at the minute because we have zero water. But our water, I think, is back on here. But all turned off at the minute because these are busted. So my wife has been away and she has picked up a couple new ones of these. These are steel ones. They're different than these plastic ones that we had here. These, they're not very good, to be honest with you. The handles were well worn on these. Anyway, I'm not sure what brand they are, but they're not a great hose. Cheaper than these guys that I've just after fitting. That's one I've just done. They're quite an expensive hose, but they seem to last an awful lot longer. And this is one here, I just screwed it off the end and I have to put this on now. So let's get that done. Just let that sit for a wee while. That'll do. Stick it on the hand. Clean is. That's better. Where did that hang? That clears it now. Today, as you've just seen, we have a new tie to try out for a couple of days. So it's just going to be exactly like what we done with the Keltec that we had. Only this time, where we had the Keltec, we had a guy out here kind of gone through the whole thing before we used it. This was actually dropped to us about a week ago, and the weather was horrific. We couldn't really do any kind of intro to it. So a man is coming tomorrow from Tanco, and he's going to give a real quick rundown through it, just all the specifics of it and how it's built and so on. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the day, so we're going to do this video in reverse, all right, if that makes sense. And we put his little bit at the end of the video. Now it's very wild here today. I'm using a mic and I'm hoping you can hear me. You look at the bales. Yeah. She's wild, she's windy, and she's not the warmest either. So I'm hoping this mic will help out an awful lot for that, because wind is the biggest devil when it comes to these cameras. Anyway, what we have here is quite obvious. What we said, a Tanco. It's not the multi-shear because it's quite a heavier machine. The multi-shear is one that can do both pit and bales, but it'd be too heavy for our tractor. I could work that out straight away by looking at it. So Tanco got in touch with us. I was actually about to ring them until I checked my emails and I seen a message from them. To be honest, we got contacted by nearly every company that makes bale shears, and we just can't do them all. We're not going to flood the channel with a heap of them. So we're going to do maybe another one in the new year. We haven't got very many bales left. We'll always be feeding bales on the other farm, so we still be fit to show it working here. As you can see, we haven't opened our pit yet, but that's not far away. I'm going to open it actually tomorrow, because in a few days it's Christmas time and I want to have it opened. Bales are nice and dry, and cattle didn't seem to eat as much silage, so our pit didn't have to be opened as soon as any other year. So this is a machine we have here to test today. As it doesn't have the finger clamps that catches onto the plastic and the net, it has a clamp system here which works similar to the Kel-Tec. It has bolt-on quickie mounts. He was telling me in the factory that they decided to just go with this system because he says you could make a couple of dozen of these and they could sit in the yard with Euro brackets on, and you could get a flood of people looking for them for JCBs and different things with a different bracket. And he said it just became too awkward to judge what was going to be more popular, so we said to just do a bolt-on bracket. And that lays any shear that they have sitting ready to go can be made suitable for any machine. So it does make sense when you think about it. Definitely got very heavy tines on it. Seriously heavy tines, but I guess that's because it's pushing downwards on them and they have to be kind of heavy, but there are serious strength in those. So weight-wise, it's 380 kilos. So that's not a bad weight for this tractor. I know straight away when I put it on, no issues with weight. One thing I will have to do with it is I will have to swap my pipes around. It came with 2 couplings, these lads here, which wouldn't work on mine. Mine is a male, the other's the female. So I put a male connection on this pipe, but I actually got it wrong. I have to swap that around because you get that muscle memory and you're used to moving the joystick one direction to get the jaws to open, and now when I move it, it's going the opposite way, if that makes sense. So anyway, I'm not going to say a whole pile more about it because I don't know, to be honest with you. First time I've hooked it onto the tractor. I meant to get testing it a few days ago and I just didn't get time. So the man that's coming tomorrow, he can go through all that with you. He'll know more about what he's talking about instead of me rambling on. So that's what we'll do. We'll put our first bale into it. I have an idea how it works. I've watched a few YouTube channels, but this will be the first time I have ever put a bale on it, so bear with me. I will look quite awkward doing it. It's not going to be perfect because I'm just learning as I go along, but hey, it gives you kind of an idea when you get it for the first time how it's going to behave. And then as we get to use it for a while, because they said they're going to leave that with us now over the Christmas and let us have a bit of a route around with it. So we'll show it again maybe later on and see the difference compared to using it first time and after getting a few practices. So straight away, it is very similar to the last one, the way you pick the bale up. I'm finding it more familiar to my shear grab, so that's why I find it handier to use. It's just down to practice, that's all that is. So when I open up, the jaws completely open. That there opens up, and now you see the way it has caught the plastic. So I'm not going to go too close to the cow's heads until I get used to this machine, because you do have sharp blades. So I don't want to go too near the cow's head, so they can be able to judge better as I go along how close I want to go. So I'm going to keep well out from their heads. I'll push it back with it. This is just the first bale ever I'm using, so I just want to be a wee bit extra careful. I opened it. It wasn't the prettiest thing you ever seen, but it's done. And the plastic's still held on. Bit of silage left over. I'll give it a little shake and see will that fall out. But whatever one of these I've looked at, they all seem to hold a little bit of silage behind. So that might improve with time and see how that goes. A little bit of net left behind. I do not blame that on this machine or the last machine. I said before on our bales, whatever happened with the baler this year, there's an extra roll of net just under the last lap of silage. So you can't blame that machine or any machine because there's no way they can get at that. So that's the reason that that's there. First bale went in an absolute dream. Second bale, not so much. It didn't clamp fully on the plastic, so it didn't get enough of grip on it. And I actually, when I was looking out before I unloaded it here, I could see that it just hadn't gripped the plastic enough. That's probably down to me not putting enough downward pressure on it, and that's just, again, down to no experience. But it does work. I probably went too far back. So the next time I'll know to probably stop just dead level with this girder here and start unloading it from that. But a bit of practice and I'd say this machine could work for us. The good thing about it is it's not wide. It doesn't stick out away past the sides of the tractor, so it allows me to get in nice and tight to the barrier and be able to do that, because you can see in the middle there's no room. They're both up against each other, so if that was a wider machine I wouldn't be fit to get over as far, and that would stop me from being able to do that. And to be honest, if I had a machine that was only putting it down the middle, I would have no interest in it whatsoever. But that worked well. Last two bales is in. Now I'm not going to edit out any stuff. I'm not going to make it look better than it went. This bale went in lovely, perfectly. Dumped the wrap there. I don't know if the camera captured right, but it was perfect. This one not so much. Bigger bale, if you can see that. And I didn't just tilt it right when I was opening it. I have to just master that and what position to have it in when you're opening it after you cut straight through, because it fell down on top of the wrap. And then when I reversed back, it had a grip of it all right, but it couldn't just pull the last wee bit out. And all I done then was, and this is a plus for this machine, this is what I like about this one, you could drive in pick it up just like a shear grab, lift it, and I was able to pull the plastic straight out from underneath it. Alright, so it's the next day. Myself and Nicole are heading over here to the farm. We've got the Tanco in the front, and we're going to put in a bale for, we can say our heifers, but we have different animals in the house now, but that's for another video, so try to overlook that. Our big heifers are home, our young replacement heifers, yearlings, are in the house now, but we're going to stick a bale in front of those. It's a completely different day. All signs of the frost are long gone now, as we can see the cottage in front through the steamed window, but it's raining quite heavy here, and it's given a whole wet day, so not ideal conditions. But Nicole promised me here she's wrapped up to the last, she's going to get a little bit of footage of me, so that's where we're at. We'll pick it up and make it up there. Now, thanks to Nicole for coming over to help me film that, because that's the first bale that came off absolutely perfectly. It just took me time. I watched another video between when I did it at home and here, I'll be honest with you, just to see where it was going wrong, and you can see there that could not have been better. How much silage do we have? We have a wee lock. Yeah, we have a wee bit. It has just gone about 5 o'clock now, and Michael from Tanco Engineering is here, and he's going to introduce himself now shortly. But first, before he does, I want to say big thanks to you guys for allowing us to have your machine for a while.
No problem.
It definitely got mentioned a hell of a lot in our comment section, so it was definitely one we were going to have to try. So Michael's going to go through all the stuff that I couldn't tell you about it, and he's going to give you a quick lowdown on how it's built and why it's designed the way it is.
So what we have here is the i7 3-bale shear. So this is the second version of it. The machine was originally launched in 2009, and the original machine was the i70. So the Tanco Bale Shear was the first to the market. A farmer came up with the idea, and he approached several companies, and Tanco ran with it. So that was all in 2008, 2009. So the original machine and the i70 and this machine are very similar. Really the main difference is on the i770, after a couple of years of manufacture, 2-3 years, by the time they started to get to the continent, we noticed that with the larger diameter bales, that the clamp, instead of being at the point of the curve, we call it 3 o'clock position, it was under the point of the curve.
Yeah.
So it wasn't mating up with the size of the bale quite right. So the guys went back to the drawing board, and basically the clamp on the i7 III, there's a couple of positions that you can adjust it forward and back for the different diameter bales.
Yeah.
And also the bottom of the plate, there's 2 positions for that as well. It still uses stone fork tines. The blade is made of Hardox, weld-on blades on the front of it. So the way the machine works is, you've got 2 pipes. So your oil flows to the machine and it goes through a sequence valve. So first of all, it flows to the clamp, and once the clamp closes, it generates a pressure, and the oil then flows to the rams for the blade.
Yeah.
And then vice versa, the blade must be fully open for it to generate a pressure that will open the clamp. So the idea is the clamp clamps the plastic, and it will hold a little bit of silage. It has to by nature of the job that it's doing. But the big advantage that the clamp has is it maintains the integrity of the disc of the plastic.
Doesn't rip holes in the plastic.
The more holes you have in it, the more you're weakening the plastic. On the sides of the blade, just on the edges, there's like little lugs there that if an animal
see that, yeah,
goes to raise its head or it, and it won't hit the blade straight away. Also for the bale shear, there's an optional bucket available as well. So the bucket is designed so that you don't have to get down to couple it up. The machine will do it automatically. So on the back of the bucket, there's a little bar sticks out, and when you come in to pick up the bucket, there are some guides underneath that mate up with the 2 outer tines, and they're quite wide. So you drive into the bucket, and once you're in a little bit, you just tip up your grab, and the bucket slides home. Because the guides narrow in, the bucket always comes home in the same position.
Okay.
So the little bar on the back of it, it has a hole in it. So the bar always slides in on that tab there. And with the bucket, you get a linkage that connects to the ram. There's a little hole in the ram for the linkage to connect up to it. When the clamp closes, the pin goes down to secure the bucket in place. And then for health and safety, there's some little fittings that come to go in on the hydraulics. So basically it's a tap. So you can, if you want to, you can get down and turn off the tap so that the blade will open and close without the clamp.
Without the clamp opening.
So you can open the blade fully,
yeah,
so that you're getting the most use out of the bucket. The bucket is a little bit wider, maybe 6-7 inches wider than the side profiles of the bale shear, and it holds about 450 kilos of meal. Michael has explained everything pretty well there. I couldn't have covered that myself, and he was the best man to do it. Work it away, we'll leave it with you for a while. You can put it through its paces. Any questions, just give us a call, or if anyone has any queries about the machine or any interest in the machine, the videos are all online, www.tanco.global, or they can get in contact with us, and we can take it from there. So thank you very much, Adrian. Thank you very much. So that's it. Pouring rain here now at the minute. It's quite cold. Nicole is up there on the tractor keeping herself warm in a lovely woolly hat and jacket and scarf, and yeah. So I'm going to leave it there for now. And by the way, from everybody here at iFarm, We Farm, including Nicole up there, lovely and cozy on the tractor, I hope you have a brilliant Christmas. I hope Santa comes, you don't eat too much, and just have a good time. Thanks very much for watching, guys. Until the next one, we'll talk to you again.